Geno have had such a special relationship since you got to campus. Where do you think you rank on his list of favorite players?
Number one. I'm sure he's got different favorites depending on the day and who pisses him off, so.
Gino Orama, the Yukon legend, the king of passive-aggressive interviews, and apparently the unofficial president of the Anybody But Caitlyn Clark. This isn't a debate about talent. Paige Bueckers can hoop. That much isn't in question. But in the realm of stardom, real, arena-filling, ratings-breaking star power, that's Caitlyn Clark's lane. What we saw with the most recent WNBA Draft ratings was a clear referendum from basketball fans. The audience voted with their eyes, and what they said was loud and clear: they weren't buying into the manufactured hype machine. They weren't buying into Paige, and they weren't buying into Geno Auriemma's legacy branding project. Sure, Geno is a titan of the sport. He's got more rings than most franchises, but at some point, his critiques of Clark stopped sounding like veteran wisdom and started echoing like bitter uncle energy. You know the type, sitting at Thanksgiving, sipping a stiff drink and throwing out backhanded compliments. She's good, but back in my day. Geno's been doing this to Caitlyn Clark for 2 seasons now.
With the first pick in the 2025 WNBA Draft, the Dallas Wings select Paige Bueckers, University of Connecticut.
Downplaying her dominance, casting shade on her record-breaking career, and suggesting her fan base was delusional for thinking she'd light up the WNBA. He called out her supporters as disrespectful and ignorant, even mocking betting odds that had Clark as a top MVP candidate before she played a single pro minute. The irony? His own star player, Paige Bueckers, just got completely overshadowed in her draft year. The WNBA tried to recreate the Caitlyn Clark playbook, rolling out press, features, and hype for Paige. But it flopped. Viewership didn't just dip, it tanked. The 2025 WNBA Draft averaged 1.25 million viewers, peaking at 1.46 million. Sounds decent, until you compare it to last year's draft, which soared to 2.45 million and peaked over 3 million. That's a 49% drop, a full-on collapse in TV terms. To put it bluntly, fans weren't fooled. No Caitlyn, no ratings. Someone on Twitter put it best: they tried to replace the sun with a flashlight. And it showed. The 2025 draft broadcast was awkward. Interviews were botched, names were mispronounced, and the energy was off. The room knew it. Broadcasters knew it. Viewers knew it. Tim Wilson, a longtime analyst, said the difference between this year and last was night and day. One draft felt historic. The other felt forced. Meanwhile, ESPN and the WNBA continue clinging to a dated formula, thinking they can manufacture a superstar with the right headlines and camera angles. And that's exactly what's driving figures like Geno crazy. Imagine spending decades building the most iconic brand in women's college basketball, only to see a player from Iowa take the spotlight without needing your logo or legacy. Clark turned Iowa into a must-watch team. She turned regular season games into national spectacles. She made gymnasiums feel like NBA arenas, and she did it without the help of Connecticut Blue, and it's not like Clark didn't back up the hype. She shattered records, topping the all-time NCAA scoring charts with style. While Paige Bueckers won a championship, a huge feat, no doubt, Clark left a mark that rewrote the sport's history. Her college stats read like a video game cheat code: 31.6 points, 8.9 assists, 7.4 rebounds per game in her final season. That's near triple-double territory on a nightly basis. Paige? Solid at 21.9 points, 3.8 assists, and 5.2 rebounds, but not in the same galaxy. Clark wasn't just playing the game. She was reinventing it, and yet, the media continues to frame the narrative as if there's parity here. Clark's legendary run gets caveats and conditions, yeah, but she didn't win it all. Meanwhile, Paige gets treated like the next great hope, showered with praise, fluff pieces, and carefully curated content. The contrast is glaring, and frankly, it feels strategic. The WNBA draft itself reflected this energy. Last year was a spectacle, a celebration. This year, it felt more like a required event. Gone were the bright lights, the cinematic energy, the fanfare. In its place, missteps, flat delivery, and an obvious downgrade. It didn't feel like the passing of a torch. It felt like a league trying to reset the narrative on its terms. Why would they do that? Some speculate the league and its media partners are uncomfortable with Clark's raw popularity. That perhaps they think her success has less to do with her skills and more to do with her race. That maybe they believe people gravitated to Clark because she's a white woman dominating a predominantly black league. If that's what's happening behind closed doors, it's a tragic misread. Caitlyn Clark didn't break records because of how she looks. She did it with logo threes, no-look dimes, swagger, and leadership. She did it while being the #1 defensive target every single game. Triple teams didn't stop her. Trash talk didn't shake her. Pressure elevated her. Let's not forget the context. She was the face of the sport while constantly being questioned, critiqued, and dissected. Every facial expression, every celebration, every loss, under the microscope. Paige Bueckers? She's received nothing but roses from the press. The difference isn't just unfair. It's manufactured, and that's the root of this media-made rivalry. It isn't organic. It's deliberate.
Paige Bueckers is the best. Congrats to her and Yukon on winning the national championship.
They're hoping fans will transfer their love of Clark onto Bueckers. But the numbers say otherwise. The hype didn't convert to views. The audience isn't confused. They've made their choice, and that choice wears number 22 in Indiana. This isn't about tearing down Paige. She's a brilliant player and could have an amazing career. But if the league is looking to crown a new queen, it can't force it. You don't replace the sun, and still, there's a noticeable silence from league officials and media execs when it comes to explaining the drastic dip in ratings. Why isn't 2024 used as the benchmark? Why do all the stats jump from 2023 to 2025? Everyone knows why. 2024 was Clark's draft year. It was the peak. And no one wants to admit how far the fall has been since. The WNBA is in a strange spot. On one hand, it finally captured mainstream attention thanks to Clark's meteoric rise. On the other, it seems hesitant to fully embrace the phenomenon. Perhaps it wants more control. Perhaps it fears becoming too reliant on one player. But trying to steer away from the very force that brought millions to the game? That's a dangerous gamble. If anything, the league should be doubling down on Clark's appeal, featuring her in every promo, building around her like the NBA did with LeBron. Because while Paige may be great, and Juju Watkins may be next, no one's come close to the Caitlyn Clark effect. Her presence isn't just a moment. It's a movement, and if the league doesn't recognize that soon, it risks losing more than just viewers. Because you can't manufacture lightning. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more updates. Thanks for watching.